Yeah, I see him, but he's all dressed in black. Let me touch him. Yeah, that's him. You know how I see him? I see him in a black clothes. Looks like ninja style clothes with different ribbons, like crisscross, but it's all black. And there's a white glow around him. He's very tall, very thin. And I see a trail of dust behind him. It almost looks like a portal. And then I see like a big I'm in the astral level, and there's like a flow of energy, looks like a path which he walks on, but also as he walks it dissipates into dust, which is interesting. And then he just goes back, and there's a big, I thought it was a castle, but when you get close you don't see it, you just see a door, and the door leads to a mountain, and the mountain is in Antarctica. And he goes in through the door, and all of a sudden I see him. He's like a scientist wearing a lab coat. And then I see him going to a machine that looks like a printer. And next to the printer, there's a reclining chair, and on top, there's like a scanner thing. Looks like an X-ray screen type thing, but it's hanging over the body of some alien. Alien looks a little muscular, red skin, big dark brown eyes, ears on the sides. Kind of looks like elf ears was pointy. And what he does, he turns on the machine. There's a blue button, and it starts scanning, like taking, blueprinting him. Because I see like this machine creates like a 3D projection of the body that is laying on the reclining chair, and then he puts this holographic image. It becomes like a formula. It's very interesting. All of a sudden becomes a formula. He takes the formula with a little bit of cluster of this energy, which contains his DNA and material of his body, energy of his body, and he puts it into the centrifuge. No, it's like a printer. And then I see the body shows up. It's like appears as he puts this material into the machine. All of a sudden machine projects and the body is staying, and then I see the body put into the glass container. Well, he does some research. He's working in Antarctica. Let's see who's working with and why he's working. But I feel like he's pushed, he's forced. It's not something that he wanted to do, but he's showing me that's his life. What came to me is a Nobel Prize winner, Germany, France, Yoshenberg. Oh my, there's so many letters, I don't know how to read it.
So
Berg,
it's Jerry.
the end. Joschenberg. Johann Franz Joschenberg. But that's what I see. Like he was a professor in Germany in 1948. He's a Nobel Prize winner, and they took him in Antarctica because I see him being cloned. They come for him in that life. I just see a life right away. He has a wife and two children. a girl and a boy, 10 and 4, and he's working. I see a dark brown table, wooden, little tiny metallic light like this. He's working at night at his table with some papers, and I see some formulas and stuff like that. It's something related to biochemistry, molecular biology department, something like this. And I see the very tall grays. Yeah, they're not typical short grays like they usually use, but those are tall ones from Zeta Reticuli. They come for him and they take him. They actually take him physically that night. They bring them to the same lab. They take his. They do the same thing to him like he's doing it now to other creatures. Yeah, they scanned him, made a clone, returned him to the same moment they took him. He had like a blackout. I guess I see him shaking his head like, what happened? Like he blacked out for a second. And then what they do, they substitute him in his life. Here was the clone. Nobody noticed. They noticed small changes in him, like something's going on with him, you know, like was a person. But they don't really suspect because they don't know about cloning, and yet anything his wife has no clue. And from that day he starts walking like working at the age of 56 at this facility in Antarctica. I see a big tunnel. It goes into the underground. It looks like a big long corridor. It has multiple doors. The doors look like this, like in the beginning I saw, metallic. And they bring him different creatures from different planets, their physical bodies. They retract the energetic bodies from them. He scans their physical, and then he creates clones, hooks them up to the energy bodies that are kept in test tubes, but then they use them for different, let's say, missions or whatever they want them to use for, on different planets. I understand how they work. They send them to different planets because in order to conquer the planet, they need to retrieve a creature, make a copy of him, put software programs in him, so he can introduce some wrong ideas to the population of the planet to basically corrupt the environment, and then everything goes down the hill for that population. Basically what they do, they introduce AI technology, and then it's very addictive, and they start getting connected to it, and there's no way out. There's some trick that they're doing to us too, because I see a parallel what they're doing with us now, that we're so dependent on technology, we cannot live without a phone or something like that. So yeah, and this is, I see 28 lives on Earth. This is 28th, and he's always been, it's almost like he's energetically chained to the slab. And that really affects, because before that life as a scientist, which is his life number 14, he had lives towards that, but he was working with technological advances, scientific, different things, basically about invention. But also see he was close to the nature in a lot of lives and enjoyed the nature and the animals. But he also studied them. He knew everything about the nature animals. He would talk to animals, he would talk to trees, to the sun. He would know how to manipulate the weather, things like that. I see him on some sort of tribe in Western Africa. This is like his second life. He was there. He knew he does some chanting in the circle. And chanting brings rain or brings cure to a child. Like he knew all of this, how to do. So let's go to the moment where how he came here.
Okay.
There. So I see some orange little planet, tiny orange. It looks like a mini sun because I feel it's warm. It's very warm on the surface. And there are interesting creatures walking on top of the surface. They're completely energetic, 13th dimension, like in relativity to third. And they're just composed of the energy of the planet. And they are like, it looks like a cell, a round cell with antennas on it. And those antennas, but they're walking antennas. So those antennas are, one of those is him, or receptors of the cell. Basically, what they have little connections to the other planetary bodies in this particular galaxy. What comes to me is Andromeda Galaxy. But Andromeda Galaxy is the one that we haven't really studied because it's like a different dimensional level of it. Because I see it like double, like one Andromeda, and behind it, that's where he is. So, and he's there. Everything is like energy based. And hello, do you hear? Oh, yeah, sorry. Because I didn't hear you. I was like, maybe we got disconnected.
No, no, it's good.
So,
So, how did you
energy
compare?
based. But you know what I see? I see this round spacecrafts. They're very flat looking. And I see those tall grays, Zeta Reticuli grays. They come by those ships. There is like 6 of them. What they do, they surround this planet, and they have some technology here. They put like, it almost looks like a metallic fence that they put, not to let people in, but without those legs. And they connect it. They install it in space in certain spots, and they fixate it, connect with each other. There are 56 segments of it, and it forms a ring around that planet he's on, and it starts draining energy. And that planet becomes, why do they do that? How do they, because it's a high vibration, it's a high dimension. Let me see what they did here. It's almost like they drill some holes in the inner space or layers, protective layers of the planet. And they also did something. They conquered one of the blue planets. I see a lot of blue, like water planets around. I see them conquered one, and because they have the receptors, have like rays of light connecting to different planets. They use that connection to be able to get to that atmosphere and the protective layers of that particular planet, and to build that thing. So they're draining energy. That's what they're doing. They're kind of killing it slowly, because I see the creatures forming, and they don't have any spacecraft or anything. they're just forming like a big how's that nuvola, the cloud out of their energy, and they shoot themselves through a portal into the which looks like a Milky Way or a cluster of stars, more like a nubula, like kind of like that. Looks like a Milky Way with tiny, tiny little dots of stars from far away. And they're resting there. They just don't know what to do, basically, because they think the planet will probably do something about it because the essence is alive and thinking. And but that's, I don't see the planet anymore, but I see how the Zeta Reticuli just grabbing them, they're scooping them up with the green energy net, and they put them into the containers right away. Each one has a separate metallic container, looks like a coffin, and then they bring them to the moon. The moon has a facility inside, which came to me 33rd floor. They're segmented into floors inside, if you look at it inside. And there are different rows of beings in different containers. They are inside each. They're classified by how much energy they're given. There's something happens to their consciousness because they they do some it looks like white fumes going into containers and keeping them stable. It reminds me uh like the biology class when they show you something in the
Like a
alcohol
drug?
solution, right? Like, yeah, like they freeze them so their consciousness is frozen because they're pretty dangerous. If you don't freeze them, the energy is so high because it's like a sun planet, the very highly vibrational, a high energy. They can get burnt literally because they're all low vibrational, and they're like playing with fireballs because those essences look like fireballs. So they need to neutralize them.
Wow.
So they put them all there. There's just a lot of them actually. And yeah, they start what they do, they extract. They extract a little bit of energy because basically they are energetic. There's no physical body. It's like, they take a little bit of that energy, they extract of the essence, and they create a body on Earth. They also create the bodies they create is like they pick the parents. They pick the parents where they wanna send the bodies to. And that's what they do with your brother. And they also put tons of programs on him. I see when he's going down the spiral vortex, which is a portal to Earth, and it's encoded. There's a lot of spiral vortexes like this going down to Earth. I feel like he's being infused with the programming. It,
Mm.
it it's almost like layers. If you take a soul and then you put layers of plastic over and over and over, and each layer has programs and beliefs about himself already, you know. The
Mm.
major beliefs is I should be like others. That's how he was born. I should not be saying my truth. I should not be expressing my own self, myself. People would think I'm weird. I'd rather be just stay away from others because I'm afraid of people. I really feel like they wanted to alienate them from people that way, and they first lives, before the professor life, they really kept him single because they knew that if he would connect with somebody or create a family, he would definitely wake up, because they also see them. They would put different implants in him and take them out, because what he would do, he would burn them up. The implants would not work. He somehow disintegrates them or just makes them not work, you know? Because he has this burning sun energy inside, which they layered with multiple programs to make him believe otherwise about himself, that he has nothing to do with being strong, powerful. They programmed him not to wake up through different deception layers and distractions in those lives. But the truth is, he's really affected by this professor in Antarctica, who's really, he really wants to go home. He understands he's in prison, but it's like they prolong his life, because I see him. They do some injections to him on his arm, and then he stays at a certain age all the time. And his soul wants to liberate and wants to leave the body. It's like a fragment of his soul is in this guy, but he can't, because they wouldn't let his body die. And that's a torment inside. And in this life too, which is like a physical part, is only 30% aware, but subconscious knows it all. Subconscious like 87, 88% aware and conscious of everything that's been done to him. And the dissonance is very frustrating for a soul, for subconscious, because it's hard for subconscious to get through. So it's like he needs to be guided to the certain points to understand these things. Because I see, so there's this thing. He has an implant here, like I see it right away. It's like a spiky thing, like a round with spikes. So he doesn't talk, but his real feelings he doesn't express. And so they blocked his knowledge there too, from all those lives where he has a lot of knowledge. So the black cube on the back here, but it got a cord. It's like what the reptilian brain is. That's exactly what this black cube is. It's like an implant, and he has a cord that's going all the way to the moon, to the coffin he's in. And he's got, I'm looking at his spinal cord. He's got some, like a ribbon wrapped around his spinal cord.
Sorry, what's that?
Like a ribbon. You know,
Okay.
like, yeah, it's not even a wire. It's just like a flat black ribbon. It goes down, all the way down to his waist area. A little further, it radiates almost like some waves to more like ground him actually to this planet, because he can also experience, because he has a implant, but he has little bots, like nanobots throughout his body too, and they look like semi-transparent, sparkling little crystal-like material things, like round, tiny dots. Some of them are in the stomach. Stomach also has like yellow, slimy kind of residue of fear. It's from that professor's life, because he lives in fear. He has to perform against his will. I feel like his eyes are closed a lot because it's almost like he has his eyes closed all the time, and the reality he doesn't want to know it. But that's his mechanism for survival in a way. And that's why he puts like energies in his eyes too on the back, not to see some crazy things happening in the world, not to create fear, because he's basically living in fear and he feels it from his own self and the body of this professor.
So now that he knows all the about all the implants and everything, now what's he's doing?
Yeah, he's looking at it. He actually called the Zeta Reticuli grays. I see two of them, but the guy in charge is a very tall reptilian. I see him right now. So he's got this face, like elongated face. It's not a crocodile, no, but it's a different reptilian with the eyes like this shaped almond, red, black and red. He's got the skin looks more like a frog with bumps, and that thing on the back like a dinosaur thing. He's the one in charge there. Yeah, because there's a mantis people too, like humanoids, mantis race. They're kind of like yellowish whitish, and they do some genetic research, but they're mostly related to his life in Antarctica. So let's do so he's freezing those two Zeta Reticuli, and he puts a net, electrical net almost, on this guy in charge. So the reptilian in charge, he orders him to bring his contract. This what I see is very strange because there's only 2 pages of it to all these lives, but the main so basically they got him because they were scared. They were in the vibration of being scared and hiding away because their planet was being destroyed, and they searched for them in that particular galaxy by vibration. And because they were scared, they told them, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna return you. Have to do some missions for us." And they agreed. They energetically, subconsciously agreed to it. They didn't really, it doesn't look like they signed anything or anything, but that agreement they put on the paper and they sealed them with their frequency signature of their soul, their subconscious. Because I see like a orangey dot at the bottom of the page, which represents energetically them. So he takes the contracts. The contracts were brought by the mantis, being yellow, light yellow color, tall, but reptilian is taller. So he throws all of 4, and then the contract, he just rips it. And then he creates a crystal that shoots fire through his hand. Basically uses a crystal as an instrument to use his energies to burn the contract. Throws it into the portal he draws in the wall right here, like a door. Throws it out, and then I tell him you can either take implants by yourself, and he said by myself. He didn't even want them to touch him. So what he does, first he pulls this ribbon from behind, like literally over his head. I see him pulling it. He puts it down, He takes the cube out of his back of his head. The energies from the back of the eyes. He removes this round with the spikes from his throat. Energy. And then it goes all the way down there. So he removed those. But now he creates a magnet, a square magnet he holds in his hand, and it absorbs all the dots from his body, those translucent ones. This is like some sort of nanotechnology to make sure he's asleep, to make sure he doesn't get nobody that he doesn't wake up, that he believes in the programs he's got inside of him. He doesn't believe in questioning reality much. It's very hard for him to start waking up. That's what it was done for. It created like a network of connection. You know, it's like an overlay of technology to shut his own energy circulation, and through energy the soul works, gets to your conscious, to your rational part through those sockets of energy throughout your body, and that's what they shut down. Looks like a nodulus. So he got them all on the square magnet. So now he opens that portal again, throws out the ribbon first, the thing from the throat, and that magnet with the dots.
Okay. He
Yeah,
feels this life, in this life, he feels like this life is a really artificial one for him. Can you see the reason?
yeah, because he was completely controlled by that technology inside of him. It's like, you know, you have a thought, right? But the thought is overpowered by another thought that comes being forced into your head. And also his subconscious is such a high level of understanding. He just feels it's not natural anything here. He's more remembering the lives on that planet or other planets. But he's come from 16th dimension, that planet was 13, and it's like he did a huge jump. It's like they forced him to imagine you're so high in consciousness and the way you create your energy, you create of yourself energies, worlds. You know, you participate in creating animals or seeding life. And all of a sudden, you're in this dense environment and the little metal box that doesn't have anything, any of that that he's used to see, like the fabric of creation that is breathing, that is talking to you. And here he feels this thing is alive to the point that he can talk to it, he can communicate, because his telepathic abilities were shut down by this cube implant, you know, that was radiating, basically creating like a vortex of dark energy. Um, I actually raised his vibration right now, and I see all the energies, all the residues from the energies he removed, like in his stomach, the fear energies, they're all being burned up because he has this ability. He's like fire soul, I would say. He can amplify his vibration so high that he can clean themselves up with fire from toes to head like this. And that's what he's doing now. And he's calm, but he knows that that's his last life. He goes to that moment when this professor was taken in that life. He wants to clean that. He cancels out that moment. He takes it out of the line of that timeline, that this aliens, Zeta Reticuli, never come and never take his blueprint, never print a clone out. This stuff doesn't happen. So I don't see him a professor anymore in that Antarctica facility. So that whole thing was changed. And he feels lighter, he says. He feels more cleaner. He also cleaned his emotional, mental bodies because he always felt suppressed from childhood. But it's in every life he felt suppressed. He felt inadequate to others. He felt different. But he couldn't share with anybody. And he couldn't be like others either. It's just that feeling I don't belong is very strong in him. So
Yes, he asked actually, like, I feel not whole, like something is always missing.
yeah, something was always missing because he had this clone and he was influencing him, that professor. He was missing his wife, you know. He was missing his life because he knew what happened. He knew that his clone was his wife. It wasn't him. He was missing his children. Something's always missing. It's like that, you know. And what is really missing is his energy body that they kept on the moon, using it for powering up their spacecrafts, their labs, the technology, and also um, connecting to Earth and using him at the 3D level for different things, but mostly reading off of his thoughts in all his life, his creations, because he was always creating something interesting. His imagination is very like what's the word? Not wild, but profound. And they were using his ideas and then erasing his memory about his ideas. That's what I feel. You know, like you find something and then you lose it, and that's like his feeling. Like he's lost inside and outside.
Yes.
Mm, Star on purpose. I mean, he's very powerful. He's like fire. He should know that. He actually he can just with his intention he can clean himself, clean his environment around, and put like a protection around, you know, when he sleeps especially. That's when they like to get close to us and try to penetrate into our energy sphere. I mean, he can totally put like high vibrational fire type frequency around himself, like a protection layer. And
But does his conscious mind understand that, or a bit
his
slow?
conscious mind is starting to understand that because right now they're working together, but it's gonna calm down. It's gonna take up to 5 months to completely get to, you know, it's like a slow growth of the consciousness in you. And understanding comes through working on yourself and experience. If he starts monitoring his, which he does, but he was losing his thoughts, you know, and he would get confused. They would constantly confuse him, it seems like. But now he can finally monitor his emotions and how they relate to thoughts, and to figure out the mechanism, understand it, how it works to gather emotions and thoughts that you project outside come into solid reality that you experience, which you're actually projecting for yourself. unless you're creating something together with another creator. That's when you have to go in agreement of creating something together. But he's more like all the lives he went through inside of him, he knows that he's more like a single creator, unique and single. He wants to be the only one with his ideas. He's never liking any crowds, any groups. He wants to be on his own. No, he's very comfortable with that. He's used to that. So
Mm. And here now he wants to know about his talent, about his, the abilities, if he does any. What does he say?
yeah, he's the energy cleaner. You know how people are gonna be. I feel like they were being attracted to him before, but now it's gonna be more because whenever he's gonna be either his energy is either gonna be dangerous for some people who are very low vibration and they will just stay away naturally, and others who are close to him vibration wise, they would be attracted to him. Because what I see, it's like a walking field of uh, burning up energy that burns up any residues of negativity around him. But he's very calm, and he can be very calm in a storm too, because that's the characteristic of his soul. He's more like decision making and imagination using what to do in the situation rather than panicking. But that's his kind of like natural state he's gonna experience now more and more. But he's cleansing, he's cleansing. He cleanses people. It's like he absorbs persons, maybe some energies of low vibration of fear or a little bit of this and that, the guilt, and then he would burn them up. What he shows is to me, he says, his subconscious shows me. He says, you understand, it's like I'm a bucket. You can put people's sorrows in the bucket, you can burn them up. And I'm that burner. I burn it up and they feel better. They feel better by talking to me because that's what happens when they talk to me. I take whatever it is from them and clean it up. And it's a natural ability. It's not like he is taking somebody's energy on himself. No. It happens outside of his energy sphere. His subconscious is wise. He's not gonna let anybody in. But he has the sun rays all around him that are doing the cleansing. So basically right now he can just use that ability, be aware of it, and I mean, at least because I feel like he had no purpose in life. You know that feeling like why am I here? What am I doing here? I don't even know. It just doesn't make sense. Right now it's coming to the terms that he's starting to have sense or idea that he can help a little because now we're going through transformational period. And he's helping naturally. It's not like he has to do something actively. First of all, he has to work on himself, and with that comes the activation of that ability. Also, he reconstructed his DNA because I see him touching it with his fingers, and he's like cleaning it, you know. He's like cleaning it, and it's lighting up. It's very interesting DNA with lots of strands, but they look more like hollow tubes. And through hollow tubes, there's a flow of like liquid crystal information because it's translucent and it's just running through. That's how the DNA of this planet. And because outside it looks like a golden orange color. That's his original DNA, and he just reconstructed it. And he says, I can take a strand, I can add a strand, I can activate this or that characteristic, but it's going to be activated more and more in parallel with his growth and understanding of things, and him reprogramming himself, not being sad anymore, not feeling like he's missing something. He found himself back. He's complete now, and you know he hasn't.
Yes. And what does his subconscious mind wanna tell? Is there something wanna tell?
Stay strong in your firepower.
Mm,
You might not feel that way, but you're very high vibrational inside. You're warm. You're warm, and people feel your warmth. And don't be afraid that they might just want to talk to you, or you know what I feel? There's gonna be people coming in contact with him for a little while, and then they're going, because through that contact of his sun rays, the fire rays, they he gives them information. They absorb it from his outside of his energy sphere. It's just the way, because if you look at everything energetically, we just we energies of different colors, and everybody does different things. Uh, we give off naturally. Uh, it's like resonance thing. His resonance is with those who need to get to some more understanding, which situation is close to what he's experienced in his life, but they are on the path of recovering their own true self. And by his example, they would see how he does it, and they'll do the same. That's why people might come and go in his life, like, but they're not gonna do anything to him. It's just that they need a little bit of interaction for the
people feed off
information.
from him, you know? Like,
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like an analogy that people come to me and then they go because they need something and they get it, and then they can carry on with their own path on their own way to the consciousness, to liberation, to everything, all of it. That's what we do. We interact with each other. It's like little moving lights we are. I mean, we interact with each other, then we go to another light. It's constant movement, like atomic particles. But he's that way, that he's just bright like little sun.
yeah.
So,
Okay, we're done.
mm, okay, yeah. He's clean, he's standing like this. Seems like he likes the sun too. Yeah. So yeah. It's very fascinating, but I feel like they put him in this lives on purpose because, he was always feeling like inadequate. And he had so much knowledge in him and understanding how everything works. But yet they would make him timid. They would make him uncomfortable to talk about things he sees. Just to kind of shut him down in this environment. But yeah. Okay, well, let me turn off the recording.